Hey guys, what up? This the Beast of Holland, aka Titan's Beast. No, not really. It's actually Elita-Legionarii, and that's my shitty beast interpretation. Welcome to another 3v3 31k with the illustrious Elita, or at least I pretend I'm illustrious. Um, as you can see by the title or the thumbnail, this battle is featuring our one and truly rare and beloved Beast of Holland getting 3k kills here. You can see his awesome formation here with the Greeks. This was a fun battle, another pike festival basically. Gotta love these pike battles. I always get excited by them. So yes, Beast is playing as the Greek cities. The Seleucid Empire under the command of Cleo, of course. There's no pike battle complete without Cleo. And I had to complete it with Pontus, faction which I actually quite enjoy and don't tend to do too bad with from time to time, surprisingly. I'm here on the Steam version because you can see I'm using the Aragorn skin mod. I love this mod. It can cause a bit of lag for me, at least when I'm recording and stuff like that, so I don't use it on GR because I don't want to lag GR, because GR is wonderful and I do not want to lag it, but because Steam already lags I just think whatever, I'll just go with it. So yeah, that's our team. My army consists of 14 bronze shields, 2 chariot archers and 4 scythe chariots, so pretty typical Pontic build there. Cleo, I believe, was looks like 7 silver shield legionnaires and 7 legionnaires and 7 pikes, and then he is 6 cataphracts. And Beast is using 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Spartans and 8 archers. Our opponents are Otidin Pen Acolyte. And I gotta say, I love Macedon's reskin on this skin mod. It's great. So yeah, obviously he's Macedon. Lots of infantry here. And he's not really got them formed up in what I would call a great formation for Macedon, but there you have it. So yeah, he's got 2 archers, and I believe that's probably 18 raw pikemen. Then we have another Macedonian player under Immortals of War clan member Belisarius. He's got 4 companion cavalry, 3 archers, and the rest are raw pikemen. And then we have Titan's Valhalla, which I do believe is Odin. And he's playing as the Julii-Romans, and he's got 6 cav. Legionary first, and then I believe he's got a couple of archer auxilia in there as well. So that's the armies. So looking at this, and we deliberately challenged ourselves in this battle. Me and Cleo were just being adamant that we were taking Pontus and the Seleucids, and Beast just had to take the Greeks to save our asses, because every single advantage lies with the other team when you take these factions. Macedon counters the Greeks. Macedon counters the Seleucids and Pontus, and Rome can handle either one of these two and can hold its own against the Greeks. So, in every sense, that all the advantages lie with their factions. Macedon can bring enough archers to counter Greece. They can also bring enough archers to shoot the shit out of both me and Cleo, because our pikes are terrible against archers. And Rome can bring archers if needed. And then cavalry, well, Greece doesn't have any. I have to rely on chariots, which, as you know, you have to be very careful with using, because otherwise they get shot by archers and go amok, which means really the only player who can bring a feasible cavalry unit is Cleomenes with the cataphracts. But of course, cataphracts you've got to be a bit careful with too, because of the stamina. So we do not have a cavalry advantage, we do not have infantry advantage, and we do have the missile advantage in the sense that Beast brought so many missiles, and I'll explain why he's brought so many missiles in a minute. But had these guys brought, these guys could also bring enough archers to counter that as well. So theoretically speaking, all 3 fields of advantages are with this team, because their factions counter ours so well. So the reason Beast is formed up like so is because he needs to skirmish, and that's important because me and Cleo are absolutely vulnerable to all forms of skirmish. The only way I can back up here is use my chariot archers to help Beast in the skirmish. He needs to win the skirmish, or we're not going to win this battle, because our guys are so vulnerable to missile fire. And the reason I'm assuming the reason he's deployed his Spartans in such an odd fashion is because of enemy cavalry units charge these Cretans or Spartans at every sort of juncture to back him up. He is not going to take an engagement with Macedon here. He wants to shoot him to pieces. He wants to get that skirmish advantage. We have to skirmish and whittle our opponents down before we even think about taking a cavalry or infantry engagement. So that is why Beast is formed up in such a fashion, which is odd, but I can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to sprawl these guys out so that if any cav comes at him, there are always Spartans covering him. Cleo will also protect him to a certain extent with his cataphracts. But all our advantages lie with our opponents. And if I were in their hands, I would be either really wanting to pressure one of myself or Cleo, or just flat rush Beast and just try and see if you can get Beast to make a mistake micro-wise. Anyway, let's begin. I'm sure you're tired of that being paused and listening to me waffling on. So as you can see, Beast is going to want to stretch out here and he's want to skirmish. He's really going to play that skirmishing, fall back, shoot him up, fall back kind of strategy, because it's the only chance we've got. Because if we don't win the skirmish battle, we are not going to win full stop, because we will have no advantages anywhere. The only place we have an advantage is skirmish, just because Beast brought so much and they didn't bring as much as what we anticipated. Actually, I got this wrong. This guy's got 4 archers, not 2. So 4 archers there, 3 there, and I believe 3 there. So technically speaking, they actually even Beast's numbers. But then I got my chariot archers, which help quite a bit in this battle. Needless to say, as you can see, Beast is going to sort of sprawl his archers around, and he's just going to get rid of the enemy skirmish, chop up some of these pikes, do as much. He's actually focusing on the infantry at the moment, which is good. He might as well, because these Cretans are not firing back. I don't understand the thinking here that, especially these 2 Macedonian players had. I don't understand it. I would have wanted to really gun at Beast here, because we know that Macedon counters Greece very well, and he's only got 12 Spartans, so he does not have enough Spartans to effectively defeat Macedon, especially 2 Macedons, and it will be very, very hard for me and Cleo to back up. That is, me and Cleo are moving in quite slowly, because our infantry is very vulnerable to missile fire, and it will be very hard for us to work here. The only person who's got good infantry is Beast, and he's only got 12. So I don't know what these guys are doing. They sort of just sit here, not realizing that every advantage is with them. They have enough missiles to nullify Beast's missiles, and then they have every single other advantage in the game. So I don't know why these guys took such a defensive approach, because it was completely unnecessary. But it was going to work into our favour. So I've sprawled my chariots out quite wide onto the other flank, and I'm bringing my chariot archers in here, and I'm going to start skirmishing. As you can see, love the reskin here, love the horse reskin on the chariots, they look great. So yeah, I'm going to bring my guys in, and I'm just going to skirmish. We got to win the skirmish battle. If we win the skirmish battle, we're in for a good show of winning. If we don't, very, very unlikely we'll be able to win this battle. Extremely unlikely, but Beast is doing a nice job here, and I'm going to try and distract as many of these guys as possible, just so that Beast maintains that advantage in his local area. So if you look at what I'm talking about, like he's got 8 of his archers here against probably about 5, whereas if I distract 2 or 3 over here with my chariot archers, it keeps Beast with the numerical advantage of archers on his particular side of the battle, which means we have that better chance of winning the skirmish. But these guys take this very odd defensive formation. I really don't get why they did this. They really, in my opinion, they really should just gun for Beast with Macedon. In all honesty, they probably could have done both Macedons versus Greece. It just would have overwhelmed Beast with sheer numbers, providing they distracted the skirmish efficiently when they've got enough missiles to do this. They've also got a lot more cavalry here. I mean, Cleo's cataphracts are helpful, but I mean, cataphracts are slow, they're ponderous, and if Cleo runs them around too much, they'll tire. So, honestly, this defensive approach by this team really wasn't ideal for them, but it's just going to play into our hands as we skirmish around and shoot them to bits. So I've brought my chariots up. I am quite close here, so again, these guys could be running feints with these cav of mine just to force me to drive back. Or better yet, wait for me to get really tired so that I can't get away in time. I'm making the mistake of actually intersecting here, which I will actually fix, I believe. Yeah, I'm going to fix that. That's something you want to avoid with chariot archers and horse archers in general. You just don't want to intersect because it gives a greater area to be shot at. But so far, because they're taking this very strange defensive approach to a battle where they really should be attacking, Beast skirmish is coming along very nicely. And I've got chariot archers in the vicinity, which are just distracting. You know, like if you look over here, these guys are pretty badly shot up. I think me and Beast were focus firing in the same general area. I was trying to observe where Beast's archers were firing so that I could fire at the same unit so that we could kill them off really quickly. Also, why Beast is doing so well is he's got greater coverage with his missile units here. Skirmish extends in more coverage of area, so he's thinner and thus doesn't get as clumped up as these guys who are taking more hits. You can see how very passively these guys are playing. Beast is just sort of moving around here, and they shouldn't be letting him do this. Macedon shouldn't be letting him do this. Again, Cleo's moved himself around here. I've kept my infantry quite well back at this moment. I am going to start moving in steadily, but at no point in time are we going to start attacking. We're really just going to keep on skirmishing. And here you can see a couple of these raw pikemen make a mistake, and Cleo's going to slink in here, and he'll probably just get rid of them, which is nice. Get rid of them quickly. He probably gets shot at here, so Cleo will want to pull out of that. But Cleo's just protecting the archery units here. But again, Cleo's sticking back with his infantry because his infantry can be turned to Swiss cheese by these archers, even with Beast as nigh distracting with our skirmish. But yeah, my chariot archers are quite useful here. I've already nailed 2 or 3 units here with the support of Beast, and that's great because it's just allowing Beast to have that local superiority of numbers over here, which is going good for him. I am starting to get shot up here. Again, to be honest, I would have actually brought a Carthage. One of these guys should have brought Carthage, because Carthage is great against Pontus with their Balearic slingers. Or I don't, I think only the Greeks themselves get the Rhodian slingers, so yeah, Carthage. But now these guys are going to go charging in over here, but they've been sitting around too long, and if you look, there's huge gaps starting to appear. This formation is pretty horrendous. I don't quite understand why they took this approach. They really should have recognised how many advantages they really had here. But by taking this defensive circular sort of approach, they've not only allowed us manoeuvrability on the field, they've also put all their archers in a very tight area where concentrated missile fire from Beast and myself gives us the edge. And that's the only place where we had a potential to win, was with the skirmish, because we just had heaps of it, but we had like shitty infantry, well, not very good infantry, and less cavalry, and only just about the same amount of skirmish, maybe a slight advantage in skirmish. So they really should not have allowed us to play to skirmish, because it was our only advantage, and they need to take it away from us. And they're making quite a lot of mistakes here. Beast has been able to pick up these little archers with his Spartans here and whatnot. They're trying to chase me off here with my chariots away. Now I make a mistake here very soon. I was talking to Cleo and I was just saying, look at Acolyte here. I was thinking maybe a quick sandwich attack. Cleo hits him on the front, I hit him on the back. Not thinking, well, I wondered if Beast might distract this guy, but he's already got enough issues over here, so I'm really would be asking too much of him, so I didn't bother asking him that. But I really should have been more observant of how close Odin was to Acolyte here, because I thought, just quickly sandwich him here. He's already depleted and he's in a really bad position, but I was being over hasty. This was a bad idea, since we don't really need to do this, because Beast can get in behind these guys and just shoot them, and then Cleo can push it at a later date. No need to rush this. We're winning up over here, we're winning skirmishes up over here. Beast has got good numbers up over here. It's going well, and I've got my side chariots ready to come in when they need to, so there's really no need for me to go and do what I'm about to go and do, because Odin is going to see what I'm trying to do here, and he's going to get in my way and intercept. And I thought maybe I could just peel off a few little bronze shield pikemen just to hold him off, and that me and Cleo could just nail the side quickly. And then perhaps trap Odin later on. That was my thinking. But there's no need, because Beast has got archers around the back here, and he can just shoot them up. So I was being a little too hasty here. Probably felt like I should be doing more at the time, but I just should have just played it and let us go with the skirmish, because we were doing well there. So yeah, I just said, let's just get these raw pikemen here if Cleo pushes on the front. But I make a right hash of it here. I should have just peeled off a bunch of men to have a go at it here. Haven't got my pikes down very quickly either. Needless to say, it was like the idea of sandwiching is a good idea, but I'm just not observing Odin well enough here. I don't get my pikes down in time over here, you see. So my guy's going to get pretty hammered here. So not a good move on my part. The general thinking of trying to sandwich over here is not a bad idea, but I didn't deal or think about Odin enough. I really underestimated how quickly he could get to me and like back up here. So this was a stupid move on my part. The idea to flank like this, sure, is a good idea, but it's just unnecessary. So there's a mistake on my part. It's not necessary because we're winning skirmish, and we should just keep skirmishing because we were winning it. So bad move on my part, I confess. But anyway, we're just still going to push in here, do a bit of damage against Acolyte, see if we can get a few kills, a few cheeky kills here, take him out perhaps. But Odin's behind here anyway, which is not great. I put my chariots into tight and sent them around. I'm just trying to see if I can get an opportunity to get some kills, but all this great skirmishing by Beast has really whittled them down. They're very, very depleted now. As you can see, I'm getting pretty surrounded here by Odin's infantry, so I'm going to get, as you can see, my guys are starting to mass rout. So I really blundered that one. I just got a bit too confident on how well things were going, and I really should have just left it because we were doing so well. So set my scythe chariots in, just get rid of these archers. I'm getting probably a bit close, but I see that Beast is taking an engagement over here, and I just want my scythe chariots nearby to scare these guys, because again, Macedon can be very dangerous to Greece, but he's not in a good formation, so Beast should have the advantage. But if I keep my chariots around, it should be quite useful. I'm going to get rid of these guys, these missile units out here, and I'm not going to charge in here yet because I just see that his guys are not fully occupied, but I'm just keeping them near because it's lowering their morale. That's how useful chariots can be. And I send some of them in now, just send them in here and we'll see what happens. And I get a bit of a rout going on here. Probably should pull back now, which I think I'm going to do, but chariots are very unresponsive. These guys go amok, but they go amok against all these guys here, so they're going to kill a bunch of them anyway. But it's turned it into Beast's favour on this side anyway, but I just need to be careful that not too many go amok. Over here, Cleo, I need to be very careful because Cleo could get stretched here because of my bad blunder with my infantry there. Still got some more chariots out here though, but these guys there we go, with Beast putting pressure on the front, these guys did initially mass rout anyway. And I'm just chasing away cavalry with the scythe chariots because the enemy archers have been destroyed. I managed to pick up the last of them there with those scythe chariots. And Cleo's just going to get these routers, make sure they do not come back. The Beast is sort of fighting in multiple locations now. He'll want to try and get his cohesion back together though, because Greece doesn't want to get spread out. It's not good for them. And as you can see, I believe Beast may have actually used all his ammo. So there you go. His skirmishing has used a lot of his ammo. A couple of my bronze shield pikemen have regrouped. But as you can see, Beast has still got plenty of his Spartans left. Claire's got most of his cataphracts left, and I've still got a couple of chariots left. Am trying to avoid the runners amok, which is unfortunate. But I think I've still got one full one. Still one full one left, which is quite nice. But again, I got a bit overconfident there trying to attack here. I didn't need to do that. No need to make moves like that when you're already at the advantage and winning, no need to do that. And sometimes I'll admit I do that, so that was a bit pure mistake on my part. Claire's going to pressure over here. He's got the numbers, so that's what he's going to go for. He's also doing the same over here. He's only attacking where he's got the numbers, but Beast is going to back him up. And as you can see, these guys are once again becoming somewhat surrounded. I should put my guys in over this side, which is what I'm going to do, and you can see a nice wedge charge coming in here from the cataphracts. Let's see if Cleo gets many hit. His cataphracts are winded though, so that is always something to be noticed about. Now I'm going to send the chariots in to lower morale again, keeping in mind that I don't want to get this dangerously wrong and hit too many of the hit the cataphracts up. But I send these guys in just to see if I can scare them, cause a mass rout. I probably don't have enough chariots to cause a mass rout as easily. Having said that, a couple of these guys rout over here. I believe the chariots probably just routed actually. Yeah, they're about to rout. But these guys are very heavily surrounded. Cleo should probably pull out now, but then cataphracts can be a bit of a trick to pull out at times. They can be a real pain in the ass to pull out. But Cleo actually starts losing quite a bit of infantry. Gets rear-charged here by these Macedonian units. It's actually his general there. Very rare to see and for Macedon to see the general in the cav. But I know Belisarius likes to do that. Personally, I prefer it in the infantry. It's much safer and more. You can protect your general better if it's in the cav, but at the same time, when you go for the cav charge, you almost always lose your general anyway, whereas you can hold your infantry general back to a much later stage of the battle, and he's much safer in my opinion. And you'll find that most generals do, like most 31k players do that, like 90% of them, just because it's generally considered to be a better approach. But everyone has their own style, I guess. As you can see though, Cleo's guys start to get pretty heavily routed, but Beast has got great numbers here, and Odin's all out of position after those charges. And Cleo's still got a few guys. I've actually brought one of my pikes back. He survived, and I'm trying to get in there and make an account for myself after making a few serious issues in this battle. But suffice to say, it looks like these Cretans have still got some ammo, so Beast is making use of those. He's just been everywhere in this fight, and you will see a lovely scorecard for him later on. But overall, our opponents took a much too defensive passive role. They had all the advantages. They cancelled out our skirmish advantage, or more or less basically equalled it, had much better infantry, and they had faction advantages too, and better cavalry options too. So, in all honesty, they just seemed to didn't deal with this battle accordingly, very well, in my opinion. Given all their strengths, I hate in battles when that kind of thing happens, when your allies just take this defensive formation for no reason off the start like that. When you have so many strengths to attack, when you should attack, it's much more applicable. Unless you know your guys are at a disadvantage and a defensive formation would be better. In this case, it really wasn't for them. They had a lot of advantages, so they should have attacked. Anyway, as you can see, we're pushing in over here against these urban cohorts and first cohorts of Odin, and just finishing up here. As you can see, there's still tons of Spartans left, so Beast has done very well. Let's see. And I'd say these Cav are probably going to die. I'm just going to go triple because it's pretty much over. Let's see, it's pretty much over, just a few more seconds and we'll be done. Come on. And there we go. And look at that, 3,127 kills, you crazy Dutchman. Nah, Beast was awesome in this fight. The only person I think was rubbish on this team was me. As I said, I got way too... I didn't need to make that move against Acolyte there, I really didn't, but I thought it would be sort of a fun thing to try and do, and thought it might have been an opportunity, but Odin was onto that and blocking me off much too quickly. I should have just left it and continued skirmishing because we were doing well. But 3k kills there, and a nice 1300 for Cleo as well. Roughly 1,000 for me. My chariots did alright, I think. Let's see, the chariot archers did great. The scythe chariots, they got good routes going. They didn't get many kills, but I know they helped quite a bit when Beast pinned down that Macedonian. And he was able to just carry on there, and he's still got over half his army left, and he's got 3k kills, so very nice. So yeah, when you're presented with this kind of situation with these three factions versus those three factions, skirmish really is your best approach, because the two Macedons can counter any one of these pikes, and Rome can easily counter the Seleucids and Pontus, providing it watches the chariots from Pontus. And it can hold its own against Greece, but you really just want one of these two Macedonians to pin down Greece. So our strength was really only our skirmish in this fight, and if our opponents had dealt with that, then we would not have been able to win this, I don't think, simply because we would have just had too many disadvantages. The only way we would have won if they'd played horrendously bad, and they took an unnecessary defensive standoffish approach. They really should have been more aggressive, and tried getting rid of Beast's skirmish, and then pressuring me and Cleo's infantry, which was very weak. Anyway though, great game to everybody involved. I will of course be linking the Beast of Holland's channel. It is an awesome channel. I find Beast in terms of I want a player to watch commentate 31k who really knows it. I can't think of a better person than Beast, at least in terms of a channel. I know 31k, but I do not know 31k like the Beast of Holland. So if you really want some great tips, and a very enthusiastic commentator who brings his A game every time, then I'll put the link in the description and go and check out the Beast of Holland. You won't be disappointed. It's a fantastic channel. So thanks again for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you soon next time.